Adam Larsson celebrating his 1,000th career game. Tonight, it's going to be a party for the big cat. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I'm Zaiem Beg, and I'm with Davy Jones' Locker Room, where we cover the Seattle Torrent and the Seattle Kraken, and welcome to Locked On Kraken. Tonight, the Kraken are back at home, finally, after a forever road trip, and against the Utah Mammoth. We're going to talk about what to look for in this game, what they're doing with the top two lines, but the story of the game tonight is going to be Adam Larsson's 1,000th career game celebration. He played his 1,000th career game, actually, in Florida, the game where they had the 3-goal comeback and then ended up losing. But this is the tradition, you play 1,000th career game and you get a big celebration. This is the third time the Kraken have had a player hit that milestone in their history. The first was Mark Giordano, who was the expansion pick from Calgary, and he was a defenseman, and he was at the end of his career. And at that point, it was like right before the trade deadline. Mark Giordano was clearly valuable to somebody that could get a couple of draft picks. So they didn't want to play him in fear of he might get injured. So they had his 1,000th career celebration, and then they didn't dress him. They didn't play him at all. So it was really, really awkward. I took a friend of mine to his first ever hockey game, and he was like, "Oh wow, this is great. Wow, this guy must be really good." I was like, "Yeah, we're not actually going to see him play." So that was a little awkward. Jordan Eberle, who has played for the Kraken and continues to play for the Kraken, his 1,000th career game celebration was a lot more reasonable. At that point, Eberle had been established as a mainstay of the franchise. One of the things that I really enjoyed, and I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I don't know if Adam Larsson enjoys music or not, but Jordan Eberle is a big Nickelback fan. I think, they're from the same area. Nickelback's from Abbotsford, BC, so not too far from here. And the arena music that night was a lot of Nickelback, and that was for Jordan Eberle. Also, I was not really prepared for how mediocre Nickelback was. The memes, because they are a meme. I heard, a couple of hits and I thought, okay, well, this is fine. But I thought their music was like heinous. It was really bad. And it's not bad. It's just like fine. It's average. And maybe that's perhaps more offensive because it doesn't actually make you feel anything. But it makes Jordan Eberle feel things. It makes him feel happy. And let people enjoy what they enjoy. Not really my thing, I will say, but they're not awful. If I had to be stuck in a car and I had to listen to a band's entire discography, you could do way worse than Nickelback. Who would be your 1,000th game music artist be? Let me know in the comments. I always find that a really interesting discussion. I think my favorite artist growing up was Michael Jackson, but then this was before all the stuff, and now it's not Michael Jackson. It's not my favorite artist because of the stuff. I moved to Seattle because I heard a Pearl Jam song, Even Flow, and I was like, I want to live in Seattle someday. I heard it as a kid. Although I think like the music that I listened to the most growing up was Weird Al. So maybe we just do Weird Al. I don't know. I'm real brown and nerdy. Adam Larsson, his career has taken a weird turn, or a weird path. When he was drafted, he was considered like one of the next great offensive defensemen. He was being compared to Victor Hedman and Nicholas Lidstrom. Hedman, the great defenseman for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then Nicholas Lidstrom. This guy played for I just did a little John Gruden thing, like, you didn't take a look at this guy. Nicholas Lidstrom, Swedish defenseman for the Detroit Red Wings, and he was just the highest hockey IQ you have ever seen. He would use as little effort as possible. He would just exert as little effort as possible because he was just so efficient. And it was just like little boop, little stick check here, and he just reps the puck, and he was just in position all the time, and he was just never like, what if you took a hockey player and who never made a mistake? That was Nicholas Lidstrom. And then he also was, good offensively, and he was just, in some senses, he was the perfect defenseman. Adam Larsson is not the perfect defenseman, but he has such a high hockey IQ that the comparisons to Nicholas Lidstrom and also Victor Hedman, partially probably a little lazy because these are all Swedish defensemen. So you're like, oh, he's Swedish. He must be like this other Swedish guy. But it does highlight Adam Larsson's hockey IQ, and it's the thing that has persisted. Now, obviously, he is not a first ballot Hall of Fame defenseman. He is not going to win any Norris trophies. He's not going to be going to the Hall of Fame, but he is a good, solid, stay-at-home defenseman. He's pretty good at the defensive stuff. It's not flashy. It doesn't show up on the highlights, but it's a really valuable role that he plays. And let's hear about what he has to say about the game tonight.
Have this moment in front of these fans. What have they meant for the place that you play now for 5 years of your career?
Yeah, a lot. It's probably the most fun I've had playing in this league my 5 years here in Seattle. So it's been a really good ride.
What about it has made this so much fun?
I think just the atmosphere at any given night. They show up even through some tough stretches here. They've been here supporting us, and it's just, and everything around it. We like the city as a family. We like everything about it. So I've enjoyed my time here for sure.
I found it really interesting that he said that this is the most fun he's had these 5 years in Seattle. I'm glad somebody really seems to enjoy being here, and he signed a contract extension, and he does really seem to legitimately like it here. The thing that he's just been a big part of the Kraken culture and establishing that culture as a new expansion team. Also, here, this is in the background of the many things I have in my background. I have this Adam Larsson bowl cut, and the lore behind this is that Adam Larsson had, I guess Adam Larsson just went on LTIR. The lore is that Adam Larsson had played a prank of some sort because apparently he's a prankster, and then Matty Beniers showed up, and he had that bowl cut picture on a t-shirt in everyone's locker, and it just became a thing. And then they ended up going on a winning streak, and so then it became even more of a thing, and so that is what happened there. And apparently there's just a lot of t-shirt pranks, according to Dave Haxall. So you have to ask his teammates about that. I can't give you that stuff. You should check into some t-shirts that have been floating around. I'll leave it at that. That was a couple years ago under Dave Haxall. I don't know if there's t-shirts going around now, but Adam Larsson, he's just a mainstay of the franchise, and he's played every game in franchise history except for one where he missed it because of the birth of a child, but he's never missed a game because of injury. And he's just an Iron Man, and he's a steady, solid presence. And Lane Lambert even had a little bit to say about that as well.
Lane, Adam obviously played 1,000 when you guys were on the road, but he'll be honored tonight. I guess, can you encapsulate, what he has meant for you this season and means to this group? And are you interested to see how uncomfortable he looks out there getting honored before the game?
Well, yeah, it's nice to see good things happen to good people, and he's a good person. Great teammate, great leader, quiet leader, but when he speaks, they listen. And he'll do anything for the team. And, that's to your point, having a ceremony, honoring him will probably make him uncomfortable. But that's just the type of person he is. He's unselfish, and he's been a tremendous player for this organization, throughout his time here.
Good things happen to good people. 1,000 games. It's a lot of games. If you're curious, the record is 1,779, played by Patrick Marleau of the San Jose Sharks. Also, Seattle Thunderbirds legend. He had 125 points in 71 games. The year he was drafted second overall, behind Joe Thornton, who at the time was playing for Boston. And then they ended up playing together in San Jose for a bunch of years. So that's cool. Well, we are going to look at players other than Adam Larsson because the Kraken have maybe found something with their top two lines. There is nothing like being in an NBA arena. The crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been so simple. And that's why Gametime has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. I am looking at going to cover the final two Kraken games in Vegas and Colorado. It's a back-to-back. And I, as you may have inferred from my background, I'm a big Denver Nuggets fan. I got the Denver Nuggets pin. I got the Nikola Jokic. And I want to, if the Nuggets are in the playoffs, you know what? While I'm there, I think I'm going to go catch a Nuggets playoff game. And as I've done in the past, I've done so by pulling up the Gametime app. You just pick a game, you get tickets within minutes, and you get the all-in price up front, so you get no surprise fees at checkout, because I hate the surprise fees at checkout, because I really, really hate it when you're like, oh man, you're stretching, okay, well, I got the budget. I'm like, okay, well, this is the amount of money I have, and I've allocated for this. Okay, and these are the best seats. Okay, all right. So, all right, I have $500 for 2 tickets, and okay, well, these tickets are $246 a piece. Okay, all right, that's good. And you go to checkout, and it's like, well, surprise, they're actually $386 a piece. And now you have to go back, and you have to find the tickets that actually fit your budget. And you have to figure, okay, what would the fees be? Gametime doesn't do any of that. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today, and remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. You've done rooftops and you've chased every happy hour, but how about one that's literally above it all? After 4 p.m., the Space Needles Pint and a Pie takes happy hour sky high, and just for $35 per person, you get entry, your choice of a sweet or savory tip-top pie, and a pint of beer, wine, or a non-alcoholic drink. Whether you're pre-gaming for the Kraken, warming up for Climate Pledge, or just here for the views, this is your night on another level. Pint and a Pie. Limited time offer, 21 plus only, minimum to purchase. Tickets at spaceneedle.com. Don't forget to check out the Everydayer Club for ad-free episodes and access to a group chat with other listeners of this show. Tap the link in the show notes or go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer. The Kraken have been on an interesting journey their first 5 years, and it has been a real blender trying to find really a second line that was consistent. The Matty Beniers, Jordan Eberle, Jared McCann line has been reunited as it has been time and time and time again over the Kraken history. But now we have also seen what seems to be a consistent production from the Kaapo Kakko, Bobby McMann, Chandler Stephenson line. And I found this interesting. Clearly, other people found this interesting. Darren Brown of Sound of Hockey asking this question. Oh, by the way, the question that made Lane Lambert laugh in the last segment was Tim Booth of the Seattle Times, formerly Associated Press. And I just want to give credit when somebody does something and they ask a really good question.
Coach, I think it's interesting that Jared McCann and Matty Beniers and Jordan Eberle always seem to find their way back together even after you've split them apart, and that's been the case for them throughout the 5 years here. What is it about that trio that seems to work so well and makes you want to put them back together every now and then?
Well, I think, if you look at the production out of them and the expected production out of them, we're in a situation here right now where we need some scoring. And we need those guys to step up to the plate. So putting them back together is designed to do that. I thought Berkeley played well up there. He used his speed. We need some production on that left side there. So, that's what we're looking for.
Okay, fair enough. Now, I found that interesting that he was going to talk about moving Berkeley Catton around. And Berkeley Catton, he has the most talent. He's got the most creativity. And he is the biggest, I guess, wild card, if you want to say that, or X factor, to use a more cliched term. But let's also talk about or hear what Lane Lambert had to say about the other line.
Lane, for your other three lines, who do you like, the pairs that are clicking in your mind?
Well, I think that, Stephenson, Kaapo, and Bobby McMann have played well, very well together. And we've, Schwartz has come back in, so we're trying to find the right fit on that bottom six, to not only be solid defensively, but also provide us with some offensive production. And we'll move Berkeley down a little bit here, but he'll play with some veteran players, and I think we have four pretty solid lines. We're going to have four solid lines. Utah's got a very good hockey team.
Pretty interesting. Again, Berkeley Catton, we're going to move him around. We're going to play with veteran players, but it does sound like he's happy with Stephenson, McMann, and Kakko, and I don't blame him because that line's been fantastic and has been the most consistent scoring line really over the last handful of games since the Olympic break or since the trade deadline. Chandler Stephenson, and Bobby McMann, both being such speedy players, fast players, and one being a good finisher, one being a good passer. It just really fits. And then Kaapo Kakko with his net front presence, and Bobby McMann also willing to go to the net front, and Chandler Stephenson able to make passes through traffic. It's all working. The bottom two lines in practice today were Berkeley Catton with Freddie Goodrow and Jaden Schwartz, and then Oscar Fisker-Mulgaard with Ellie Tolvanen and Jacob Melanson. Ryan Winterton did return. He was on the ice. He did not practice, but he was honored with some stick taps after he had left the team due to the passing of his brother due to cancer. But he's back and hopefully he's getting the support he needs. Grief is such a tough thing to deal with, and everyone processes it differently. And I just hope that he has what he needs in order to be happy and healthy and feel safe and feel emotionally supported and feel like he doesn't have to go through this alone, and that other people can lift him up and give him the tools to deal with it. He is on a team with two players who have lost siblings to disease. Brandon Montour lost his brother to ALS, and then Jaden Schwartz, before he was in Seattle, his sister passed away from cancer, and he had spent time here in Seattle, where his sister was receiving cancer treatments, and so he was familiar with the city when he signed here as a free agent. So, I hope he's okay. I really do. And my heart goes out for him. Shane Wright also practiced, but he's in a red jersey, so he is not going to be playing. He sustained a upper body injury against when he was kind of bent over, and then Logan Stanley, who is like 7'11" and 800 pounds, and just kind of hit Shane Wright. It didn't seem like it was anything like too malicious or anything like that. It was just, Shane Wright was bent over, and Logan Stanley is a gigantic human being. And unfortunately, Shane got the worst of that, and he has not played, but he is practicing. So that is good news. Well, coming up next, we're going to look at what the Kraken have to do tonight against Utah to try to stay in the playoffs and what is important. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but I never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risks and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered future commission merchant and swap firm. Thank you for making Locked On Kraken part of your daily destination. I really do appreciate it. It is something we're trying to grow here and something we're trying to figure out as we move to a solo format. I felt like I kind of got my stride, and then things happened, and we go from 2 hosts to 1. And I want to make this the best show that this can be. And I want to also figure out where I can provide the most value to you, the listener. Seattle Kraken media, I think, is excellent. I think they're just really outstanding people, really knowledgeable people. There is no shortage of smart hockey people in Kraken media, and I want to bring something that is additive and not just repeating the same things that everyone else is saying. And I understand, there are only so many storylines. It's not like, oh man, someone else talked about Adam Larsson's 1,000th game, or oh wow, the Kraken aren't scoring. Someone else already talked about that. Now I can't because now I'm stealing their material, But at the same time, if you listen to this show, I want you to get something more out of it than you would if you just listen to everything else. It's something different. And so I would love to know what works and what you would like to see more of. Please let me know in the comments. And let me know what might not be working. I'm real curious, and I just want to make this the best show we can make it. And that is going to be a journey that we'll take together with me and you. And let's have some fun, and let's learn about hockey, and let's teach each other about hockey, and let's go do that hockey. Well, the Kraken are going to do that hockey, or they're going to attempt to do that hockey against Utah. There are all sorts of storylines here, but most importantly is let's start with the playoffs. So the Sharks beat the Ducks last night, which is not good news for Seattle. Now San Jose has moved up into the 9th spot. So there are now 3 teams between Seattle and Los Angeles for the 8th spot. It's not great. It's not great, I will say. And in fact, if you look at the playoff leverage tonight, currently, because of the Sharks win, their playoff percentage has dropped to 5.4%. If they beat Utah, that goes up to 9.2%. And if they lose in regulation, it's down to just 2%. So that's not great. Now, the Kraken do need to get to 90 points. The odds of making the playoffs at 90 points has dropped slightly since yesterday because of the San Jose win. But if they get to 90 points, they will have about a 90% chance of getting into the playoffs. 90 points with 9 games remaining at 75 means that they have to get 15 points in 9 games. So 7-2 will not do it. In fact, 7-2 would only give them 89 points. And so, yeah, that's 63%. They're still a favorite to get in the playoffs, but it's not great. 6-2-1, not going to cut it. This is their remaining schedule, and this is their simulated odds of beating the remaining teams. Currently 42% to beat Utah, and the Kraken would only be favored against 2 of the remaining teams on the schedule. You can, if you would like, give them a higher percentage chance against Colorado, as I mentioned, because Colorado might be resting players, but the rest of them, I think it is kind of what it is. Let's talk about the Kraken power play, which has been the worst in the league since the Olympic break. The Kraken had the 9th best power play before the Olympic break in terms of expected goals and 10th overall. Since then, it's completely fallen off, and they are dead last. The penalty kill has been good since the Olympic break. I don't know if if there's a curse, like an Etsy witch put a curse on the Kraken that only the power play or the penalty kill can be good at any one time. But whatever it is, special teams has not been able to put all of it together. And, overall, the Kraken have the 31st penalty kill this season because it was so bad to start the season that even though it's been very good recently, it's just they got to climb out of that hole. Something that Steve O'Rourke, the coach of the Torrents, said that struck me, that I really stuck with me, is that he said if you're slow moving on the power play, if you're slow to move the puck on the power play, that's death. And I think that is absolutely spot on. I mean, he's a professional hockey coach, so one would assume he's spot on. And I've been looking at the Kraken power play, and so here's there are 2 components here, because that's not the only component. Because if it's just moving the puck around quickly, then you can just go in and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to go in with the mindset of like, this puck is hot potato. Well, you still have to have some intentionality. You still have to make deliberate decisions of where to, pass the puck. The other thing too is you can't just like whip it around, because if you fumble the puck at the blue line, the defenseman, fumbles the puck at the blue line, now goes out of the zone, and now you have to redo your zone entry, and that doesn't help your power play any. So you need to move the puck quickly, but also you can't do it recklessly. And if you're moving the puck around quickly, there's higher chance that a player is going to lose control of the puck, and then you have to exit the zone. So there's multiple things at play here. But although I think the power play has been maybe a little unlucky with their finishing, the lack of crispness is more apparent since the Olympic break, and it is something that is compounding and was resulting in them having the league's worst power play since the Olympic break. They're just fumbling pucks. They're they're not able to get players in the right spots, and then when they do have a good shift and they generate shots, it does seem like the goalie is just going to decide to stand on his head. And it's like, man, how did that not go in? And there have been a lot of those, how do those not go in shots recently, which isn't, there's nothing you can do about them. That's just unlucky. And the goal output relative to the expected goals reflects that. But overall, I think the Kraken need to play with more precision on the power play. The other thing that has been driving me nuts is the Kraken's inability to get clean zone exits. If they are facing a strong forecheck, it is a real problem. And you're seeing these shifts, these long shifts, minute and a half, minute 45. Anything above 50 seconds is a long shift. These players get tired. You're out there, you're sprinting for 50 seconds to get off. And if you're out there for much longer than that, then you start to really get tired. And now you're not in position. And now lanes open up. And, you can pass the puck around and you can generate higher quality shots and get better looks because the defensemen, specifically defensemen, aren't in the right position. And all of that comes from not being able to cleanly exit the zone. So I want to see clean zone exits. I want to see Riker Evans step up his game, and he is a puck-moving defenseman. That is why they drafted him. Get out of the zone. Let's just get the puck moving up the ice. Let's get into the neutral zone, and let's get that generating the other way. And then let's generate some offense by getting players to the front of the net. I know Lane Lambert, he has talked about it. And you know what? We're going to hear him talk about it a little bit more. Well, why don't we just do that right now?
Yeah, you got to bring every facet of your game. And for me right now, it's about the compete level, the battle level, puck battles, 50-50 puck battles, your willingness to get to the net, your willingness to keep people away from the net this time of the year. That's what we need, So you said it, 9 games, extremely important, obviously. And, we have to be ready to go.
Had a couple wins, played well in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're heading in the right direction?
That's a great question. I do feel like there's, we're playing a better brand of hockey right now than we were, maybe coming out of the break kind of thing. I think we've gotten a little bit more rhythm to our game. I think we're a little, our structure is getting back to where it needs to be. I did not dislike the game in Edmonton. I thought we played pretty solid. Overall, we had our opportunities. If there's one thing that our hockey team, and we've talked about it for months now, and it's going to have to resonate here, is we've got to get to the net. I thought their goaltender saw too many pucks in Edmonton, and there's 4 or 5 opportunities that could have went in the net. I thought we played a really good road game against that hockey team. So I do feel like our game over the last 4 games, 5 games has been a lot better.
So here's what I want. I want better puck movement on the power play. I want clean zone exits. And I want everyone to have a good time tonight celebrating Adam Larsson. So those things happen. I'll be happy. The Kraken win. That'd be a pretty good night. And let's try to keep those playoff hopes alive. Well, thank you for tuning in to Locked on Kraken, and we will be back tomorrow to talk about their big win over Utah because I'm manifesting. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked on Kraken so you get all the latest episodes. You can find me at Davey Jones LR on all social media platforms or at DaveyJonesLockerRoom.com, where we do print coverage of the Seattle Torrent and the Seattle Kraken. And if you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked on Kraken ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure this is one of your 2 daily listens. For Davey Jones Locker Room, I'm Zaiem Beg, and I will see you tomorrow.